Miraculous Deliverance, 7 Days to Overcome Temptation Through Divine Prayer and Prophetic Power. In the sleepy village of Millfield, nestled among the rolling English hills, rumors swirled like clouds before a storm. Miraculous deliverance. A promise of freedom through fervent prayer. The church bells chimed, echoing with divine urgency. Elizabeth, the devoted woman, felt a spark ignite within her weary heart. The pastor spoke of transformation, uplifted by the very breath of God. Here was a chance for both her and her community, a fresh beginning. Each day began with the morning sun breaking through the fog, illuminating the chapel's stained glass windows, spilling hues of hope across the faces of the faithful gathered inside. Elizabeth sat among them, her once furrowed brow relaxing as prayer swelled in harmonic unity. "I will commit to 7 days," she declared softly, a pledge escaping trembling lips. Her heart raced with fervor, craving liberation from the darkness that shadowed her life like a secret tempest. On the first day, she prayed intently, surrounded by earnest faces, their hearts entwined like the ivy clinging to the chapel walls. And lo! As Elizabeth's spirit soared, the congregation experienced a sudden stillness. In that moment, the air thickened with divine presence, and a palpable warmth enveloped them. Tears fell freely, not from sorrow but from a wave of inexplicable peace. Could this be a glimpse of the miracles to come? By the second day, doubts fluttered in like curious sparrows. Elizabeth rose early, heart pounding as she wandered through blooming meadows, seeking solace. Suddenly, a shimmering light cascaded down from the heavens, enveloping her in a radiant embrace. She collapsed to her knees, crying out for deliverance. "Lord, take this burden from me." Her voice echoed, so pure that wildflowers seemed to bloom with each syllable, their fragrance swirling heavenward. She felt lighter, though the struggle still loomed. As the days rolled on, Elizabeth faced relentless temptations. Whispers of skepticism bubbled up around her, each comment sharper than the last. Yet, under the waning moonlight on the 6th night, she gathered the strength to confront her fears amidst the congregation. "Dear friends," she began, voice quaking but filled with resolve. "Bring your burdens. Lay them at his feet." The air crackled like an electric charge. As her words flowed, the room transformed, hearts suddenly heavy with sorrow vented in cathartic release. Gazes met with fierce understanding. The village, once divided by silent despair, united in shared vulnerability. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The 7th day dawned, and the anticipation seemed to hum in the air, like the world holding its breath. Elizabeth entered the chapel, and the divine light cascaded around her, illuminating the faces of all who gathered. It felt like a new dawn breaking. They took their places, united in hope and expectation, a community bursting at the seams with faith. Would God's hand move among them? Would redemption be theirs? As Elizabeth stood before them, ready to share her testimony, an ache of fear settled in her heart. Would the revival take root? Would she be free or remain shackled to her past? The moment hung like heavy mist over the village, longing for resolution. What divine revelation awaited them? Would the miracle of deliverance transform not just her faith, but the very fabric of Millfield forever? Elizabeth took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle around her. The chapel was alive, each heartbeat resonating with the yearning for change. The townsfolk looked to her, their eyes a mixture of hope and fear, and in that stillness, she understood her purpose. She was not merely one person carrying her burdens, she was the voice of the collective longing, the vessel channeling their dreams for a brighter tomorrow. "Brothers and sisters," she began, her voice firm yet tender, "we have gathered here under God's gaze for a purpose much greater than ourselves. We have bared our souls and laid our troubles in His presence. I stand before you, not as a perfect person, but as a fellow traveler on this road to redemption. A wave of murmurs rolled through the congregation, each person feeling the pull of her sincerity. As she shared her journey over the past week, her words flowed like a soothing balm. In my darkest moments, I discovered that our weakness opens the door for His strength. With each sentence, she painted vivid images of her struggles, the doubting whispers, the yearning for peace, and the sweet moments of divine grace enveloping her. The air thickened with emotion as Elizabeth continued, her heart emboldened by the love and faith she felt around her. On the second day, when I knelt in despair, I was enveloped by a light so warm, I could scarcely stand. It felt as if the very hands of God were lifting me from my anguish. And in that moment, I truly believed that the chains that bind us can be broken. The congregation shifted, a collective intake of breath as they connected with her pain and her triumph. Old Mrs. Thompson, who sat near the back, dabbed at her eyes with a frayed handkerchief. Young Timothy, clutching his mother's hand tightly, felt a flicker of hope spark in his heart. Then, as the moment reached a crescendo, Elizabeth raised her hands to the heavens, her voice erupting with fervor. Let us pray, dear friends. Let us invite His divine presence to wash over us, to heal our broken spirits. The congregation, moved by a surge of camaraderie, rose to their feet. Hands clasped and hearts opened, they created a web of divine connection, feeling the vibrancy of hope weaving through their midst. With each solemn prayer that echoed around the stone walls, the chapel resonated with the palpable energy of faith igniting. Elder Peters, a wise figure in the village, stepped forward, his voice trembling with conviction. Lord, we lay at your feet all that burdens us, our doubts, our fears, our very souls. As we surrender these weighty stones, may we find wings to soar. His words struck like lightning, igniting a fire in all who heard. With their hearts joined in collective supplication, each prayer echoed back from the rafters, filling the space with an effervescent energy. Elizabeth felt the pulse of history, the prayers of generations past whispering from the very stones of the chapel. There was a movement, a tide of divine energy, weaving through the community, begging to be released into the world, but just as Elizabeth thought she could sense the miracle approaching, uncertainty fluttered through her mind. What if we're not ready? What if the divine spirit has not yet chosen this day? Those nagging thoughts sipped at her fervor. The atmosphere thickened, and for a moment, the clarity she had felt waned like the fading light of day. It was in that unmistakable pause, heavy with expectation and doubt, that a voice broke through the shared silence. Behold! The answers lie not just within our prayers, but in our willingness to embrace the unknown. A stranger, a newcomer to the village, stood at the threshold of the chapel. His presence radiated light, a beacon of hope that seemed to dissolve the shadows. Who was this man, and what message would he bring? As Elizabeth turned to face him, the entire congregation held its breath, poised on the edge of revelation. What miracle lay before them? Would this be the defining moment for Millfield? The stranger stepped inside, the vibrant energy pulsing behind him like a wave crashing against the shore. A hush fell over the chapel as he surveyed the congregation, his eyes sparkling with an inner light. Elizabeth sensed it instantly, a divine assurance that this man carried with him something special, something the village desperately needed. Fear not. He proclaimed, his voice booming yet gentle, echoing against the stone walls. I have not come to speak of despair but to unlock the doors of possibility that lie within each of you. A murmur rippled through the crowd, curiosity and anticipation mixing in the air. Elizabeth's heart raced, her spirit ignited by his words. Who was this man, and how did he know their needs? We gather in this sacred space, not just to pray for change, but to become the change. He took a few steps closer, the warmth of his presence washing over the congregation. Each of you is woven into the fabric of hope and healing. Each prayer tonight sends ripples far beyond these walls. Young Timothy, still clutching his mother's hand, looked up in wonder. Mrs. Thompson's tear-streaked face lifted, a glimmer of hope shining through her somber expression. The energy in the room shifted as faith began to awaken in each heart. Do you feel it? The stranger asked, a smile illuminating his features. Do you sense the divine current flowing through this very moment? The Spirit whispers to us, it beckons us to rise from our ashes and soar into newfound purpose. Elizabeth nodded, her heart pounding with conviction. Each word from the stranger felt like a key turning in a lock that led to transformation. She could see the congregation was beginning to grasp the magnitude of this moment. We are ready. She cried out suddenly, her voice mingling with the stranger's proclamation. The stranger turned to her, recognition sparking in his gaze. Then let us dare to dream together. Let us welcome the unknown as our companion on this journey. With agreement in the air, he gestured for the congregation to gather around him. Elizabeth found herself moving forward, ignited by the community's energy. Hands outstretched, shoulders brushing against each other, they formed a circle of togetherness, each heart unified in intention. Tonight, he continued, we will pray, and within these prayers, we will remove the scales from our eyes. We will banish doubt and fear. The heaviness you carry will dissolve in the divine light of love that surrounds us. A soft light enveloped them, a shimmering presence that made Elizabeth's breath catch in her throat. She glanced at her fellow villagers, their faces lit with wonder. The room felt electric, charged with purpose as each individual sought their own connection to the sacred. Let us speak our desires into the air, the stranger urged. Let us invite the spirit of transformation. Say aloud what you seek, what burdens you wish to release. The chapel filled with voices, some hesitant, others bold, ringing through the air like a sweet melody. Peace! Shouted one voice. Healing! Called another. Courage! Echoed throughout the crowd. Elizabeth closed her eyes, feeling the words wash over her, finding her own voice amidst the chorus, hope. She exclaimed, but just then, the heavy wooden doors of the chapel creaked open, a gust of wind rushing through the sanctuary. A chill ran through Elizabeth, her heart racing again as she brokenly whispered, what now? From the shadows, a figure stepped inside, cloaked in darkness. The congregation turned, a collective sense of awe and fear in their eyes. Who was this person? What new challenge awaited them on this sacred night of prayer and revelation? As the stranger's warm presence mingled with the cold air, Elizabeth couldn't help but wonder what divine plan was unfolding. Her heart pounded with expectation and fear. What would happen next? The figure standing in the doorway was shrouded in shadows, but Elizabeth could feel an unsettling energy emanating from him. Her heart raced, a wave of fear mingled with the warmth still radiating from the stranger. The tension in the room thickened, a palpable barrier between hope and uncertainty. Who are you? The stranger's voice, so very calm and steady, broke through the silence. Elizabeth felt the congregation hold its breath. Was he asking for help? Did he seek the same warmth they had shared moments ago? I'm a messenger, the figure replied, his voice low and smooth. I come with words that may stir pain, and yet within that, reveal purpose. As he stepped further into the light, Elizabeth could see his face. He appeared worn, his eyes glinting with a depth of sorrow but also of wisdom acquired through trials. Elizabeth's breath caught, sensing an urgency in his tone. The stranger, the one who had filled the chapel with hope, moved closer to this new arrival, standing firm between him and the anxious congregation. Tell us your message, the stranger encouraged, his own gaze steady and inviting. We are ready to receive it. The cloaked man cast a glance around the chapel, almost assessing the faith present. You speak of change. You desire transformation. But know this, to welcome light, you must confront the darkness within, he stated, the gravity of those words heavy in the air. A murmur spread among the congregation. Some looked down, eyebrows knitted in concern. Others offered nods, feeling the truth in his statement. Elizabeth's heart stirred, knowing that facing the darkness often felt daunting. But it was necessary for true healing. What do we need to do? A voice called out. Elizabeth recognized it as Mrs. Thompson. The fear of crashing waves transformed into a question of courage, a willingness to learn. Join me in reflection. There's power in revealing the light and shadow within us, the cloaked man replied. Unpack your burdens, and be willing to listen to one another. The stranger exhaled deeply, let us open our hearts wide. The Spirit is calling us to greater depths. This is indeed a sacred moment. Speak openly, or be willing to share your pain in silence. Both are needed. As the invitation hung in the air, an unexpected calm settled. Elizabeth felt her spirit lift, she could sense the collective will of the gathered souls. They were standing at a threshold, one door that opened to revelation and healing, if only they embraced the discomfort first. With a trembling voice, Timothy stepped forward, his small frame filled with bravery. I'm afraid of being alone. His honesty cut through the heaviness, ringing true in every corner of the chapel. The crowd held their breath again, but his words kicked down the walls of isolation. One by one, others began to speak. I carry regret, I seek forgiveness, I fear what lies ahead. Each confession built upon another, weaving a tapestry of shared turmoil. Elizabeth stepped boldly into the light, emboldened by their vulnerability. I crave hope. I want to believe there's a future beyond this pain. Her own words echoed in her heart as she spoke. Hope is a powerful anchor, my friends, the cloaked man said softly, his dark eyes shining. Let your fears rise, for without acknowledging their presence, you cannot move beyond them. Darkness gives light its meaning. A sacred silence enveloped them. It was in this moment of honesty that the true unfolding began. Elizabeth closed her eyes, feeling the energy transform again, this time heavier with the burdens lifted. Now, the stranger proclaimed, with courage and intention, let us pray for the light to enter these shadows. As they bowed their heads in unison, Elizabeth felt something shift, something divine taking place. The encounter felt raw and real, lines of connection flaring between them like wildfire, igniting prayers that coursed with raw emotion. But just as the air thickened with expectancy, a crack of thunder rumbled outside. The congregation gasped as the wind howled louder. What did this mean? Were they to face a storm not just outside, but within? Elizabeth's heart ached with possibilities, her spirit eager yet cautious. What was about to be revealed? And could they withstand the tempest that awaited them? The energy in the air crackled, and Elizabeth found herself wondering if they were truly ready for what the night would unveil. The storm outside grew fiercer, rattling the stained glass windows of the chapel as if nature itself was responding to their cries. Elizabeth opened her eyes, heart pounding, sensing that the fragile moment they had created hung by a thread. Stay strong in faith. The stranger urged, his presence unwavering. The gathered congregation remained bowed, yet the weight of the storm pressed upon them, almost suffocating. Elizabeth could see Timothy gripping the pew tightly, his small knuckles turning white. Pray. The cloaked man beckoned them again, raising his voice above the howling wind. Let your words rise like incense to heaven. Speak of your fears, your hopes, unite in this sacred plea. The room began to resonate with heartfelt supplications. Lord, guide us through our darkness. Mrs. Thompson's voice broke the silence, raw and trembling. Witnessing her strength ignited a spark within the congregation. Others, emboldened by her honesty, poured their souls out in prayer. Help us to face our shadows, give us courage to see, whispered another voice. Elizabeth felt her spirit lift as the walls of isolation began to crumble. Every prayer was like balm on aching hearts. Remember, the cloaked man interjected gently, every storm has a purpose. Every raindrop carries lessons. Seek the treasures hidden within the turmoil. As their prayers rose higher, Elizabeth began to see light flickering at the edges of the shadows within her mind. The storm outside was a mirror to their inner battles, each crack of thunder a reminder that challenges often fuel growth. Then, suddenly, the cloaked man's voice deepened, caught in the heartbeat of the tempest. In the face of chaos, do not shy away. This is where the Spirit breathes life. With that proclamation, his hand lifted, pointing towards the chapel's windows, illuminated by flashes of lightning. Elizabeth squinted into the stormy abyss. A vivid crack of light split the sky. In that brief moment, she saw for a split second lives revealed, hidden vulnerabilities and quiet hopes laid bare. It was as if the storm outside had drawn forth the rawest reflections of their inner selves, entwining their collective struggles together. In that moment, joy swept through her as she realized it wasn't the tempest they needed to fear, but remaining silent amidst it. Their voices thrumming as one grew louder, breaking free from the chains of doubt. "Let us offer our hearts, unfiltered and raw," the stranger continued. "For it is in vulnerability that we discover strength. Purpose emerges from pain. Come forth. The light is within you already, let it shine bright." Timothy, visibly transformed, raised his voice. "Together, we can face anything." His words resonated throughout the chapel, an appeal that broke through the storm's fury. The winds then began to shift, a stillness descended over them, and the cacophony outside dwindled to a whisper, as if the storm itself bowed to the unity of their spirits. The air infused with a sense of calm, and the flickering light became an ethereal glow. Elizabeth felt a warm rush through her body, cleansing and pure like waves washing over her soul. They were emerging from the storm stronger, united in a bond of faith that transcended fear. Deep down, she sensed something tremendous was about to unfold. But what had they truly welcomed? What blessings might come from this night of confessions and prayers? Outside, the storm diminished, giving way to silence. Yet Elizabeth felt a different storm was brewing within her, a stirring of hope, a faith reawakened. She glanced up at the cloaked figure, his eyes holding a prophecy she could not yet understand. "Prepare," he whispered, "the dawn is coming. Are you ready to be transformed?" As their hearts raced with anticipation, Elizabeth questioned what awaited them beyond the veil of this dark night. Was this the beginning of that transformation? What were they truly called to step into next? The silence enveloped the chapel like a soft blanket, wrapping the congregants in a gentle embrace. The storm that had once raged fiercely outside had now become a mere whisper. Yet within the hearts of those gathered, a vibrant energy thrummed. Each breath taken was heavy with expectation, and Elizabeth could feel the sacred current connecting all of them, weaving tighter into a tapestry of hope. "Look around you," the cloaked man spoke again, his voice steady and profound. "Do you not see? The light of unity shines brighter than any darkness. It's in this moment we find one another. Cling to that feeling. Allow it to strengthen you." Elizabeth noticed Timothy adjusting himself on his pew, his youthful face alight with a newfound sense of purpose. The children often held a sincerity that adults struggled to maintain. Their faith was uncluttered, a direct line to the divine. She marveled at his earnestness, feeling a swell of love for the boy. "This is not merely a prayer meeting," the stranger continued, shifting his gaze like a gentle breeze among them. "It is a gathering of souls hungry for renewal. Seek now what has stirred within you. What dreams were once extinguished? What wounds have yet to heal? Tonight is your chance to expose those to the light." As the weight of his words settled in, Elizabeth felt something stir deep within her, an echo from the past, reminders of how often she had pushed aside her dreams in the name of duty. She closed her eyes again, absorbing the shared energy of every soul around her. She started softly, "O Lord, grant us wisdom to know the paths we must tread." Her voice blended with others, a gentle rising tide of invocation filling the sacred space. The prayers swirled through the chapel like a soft melody, becoming one vibrant hymn. "Remember," the stranger broke in, his voice lifting. "True liberation often bears the essence of challenge. Do not shy away from the mountains ahead, they are the very terrains your faith must ascend. With each prayer, you equip yourself, fortified to conquer the peaks." The congregation's murmurs took on a joyous tone, bridging what once felt fractious. Elizabeth could hardly recognize the fears that had hounded her just moments before. They began to dissipate amidst the warm glow of collective resolve. The idea of emerging victorious from personal struggles was beginning to feel tangible. In that pivotal moment, the cloaked figure raised his arms to the heavens, and a moment of profound stillness fell. Let the Spirit guide you. What would you relinquish tonight? Past hurts, fears, doubts? Cast them down. Offer them here and be willing to receive the abundant grace waiting to flow into your hearts. As Elizabeth opened her heart more fully, tears of gratitude streamed silently down her cheeks. The wave of faith surged through the community around her. Timothy, with courage bursting from him like a new sprout, shouted, "I give my fears to God." The simplicity of that declaration resonated, his small voice amplified by a room full of adult hearts that had also yearned to surrender. What if, Elizabeth pondered as the others joined their bold declarations, each of us could peel back the layers we've worn and light a way for others? The cloaked man stepped closer, the intensity in his eyes deepening. You are the light. You are the bearers of truth. The journeys of transformation begin as soon as you are ready to step forward. A palpable excitement erupted in the room. The clouds of uncertainty that had previously shrouded the congregation seemed to draw back, revealing a vast expanse ahead. Together, they sensed that something extraordinary was on the brink of happening. A miraculous deliverance awaited. With hearts intertwined and courage swelling, Elizabeth felt the contours of their shared journey reshape. What lay ahead? How would they embrace this transformation? As dawn approached, so too did the promise of renewed life. Prepare yourselves, dear ones, for the moment of divine intervention is ever nearer, the stranger declared, his presence almost shimmering in the gentle light that began to seep through the stained glass. Are you ready to surrender, to trust, and to transform? And within that question lingered the echo of their newfound resolve, this time resonating with the knowledge that together, they could walk into the dawn of tomorrow not fearing the night, but embracing the light that awaited. The energy in the chapel transformed, morphing into a vibrant nexus of possibility and imperfection. Elizabeth could feel the pulse of anticipation surge, like a river swollen and racing towards destiny. The weight of the moment felt almost tangible. Each heartbeat was a reminder of hope renewed, an anthem of faith ready to rise. As if sensing the shift, the cloaked man gestured for silence once more. He lowered his arms but held them open, welcoming the spirit that danced between them. Dear ones, he began, his voice now rich with compassion, the path you tread is not merely your own. It weaves into the lives of those beside you. You are not just vessels, you are catalysts of change. Timothy, still brimming with fervor, leaned forward, his eyes wide and shimmering like stars. What if we could help others see the light too? He asked, his small voice cutting through the growing fervor. It resonated, sparking murmurs of agreement around the room. Yes. Elizabeth called out before she could second-guess herself. What if we became beacons? What if fear doesn't just leave us but compels us to reach out and uplift others? The cloaked man smiled knowingly. Ah, the wisdom of a child. Fear transformed into love becomes a mighty tool in the hands of those willing to wield it. Together as one, your light can break chains and rewrite stories. A hushed reverence gripped the chapel. The flicker of candles danced with the growing warmth inside, echoing the flame igniting within each heart. Elizabeth felt the cocoon of stillness wrap tighter, inviting her to delve deeper. A ripple of revelation flowed through the assembly, igniting faith and trusting connections anew. Envision this, the man urged, his voice rising like incense to the sky. Visualize a community empowered, not by their strengths alone but in their vulnerabilities. What if your scars become stories of triumph? As he spoke, Elizabeth closed her eyes again, breathing deeply. Pictures filled her mind, faces of family and friends marked by struggles, souls weighed down by the burdens of life. The thought brought a rush of resolve. What if, she began once more, her heart brimming with conviction, we reach out to those who feel lost, those doubting their significance? What if we help them remember they are cherished? Timothy nodded fervently, his enthusiasm contagious. We've got to tell them it's okay to feel scared, and that there's a way up. That they are not alone. The stranger stepped forward, his presence enveloping them all. Indeed, you grasp a profound truth. Each moment spent in connection births miracles. Your firm belief in our collective power is the very nectar of divine action. It is in unity where blessings are magnified. An electrifying energy coursed through Elizabeth as she caught Timothy's gaze, brimming with faith and vision. The ache of her past began to fade, replaced by a desire to embrace the fullness of what lay ahead. Just as the vision of their purpose crystallized, the stranger touched his forehead gently and then pointed toward each of them, igniting a flame of purpose. Breathe deep, beloveds. Seek your purpose now and let your hearts overflow with the gifts only you can give. For within you lies the key to unlock another's pain. Remember, with each act of love, the unimaginable dawns. Their eyes sparkled, hearts igniting with shared ambition. Joining hands, the congregation became a circle of expectation, a living tapestry woven from hearts unbound. They prayed fervently, energies combinatorial, as the reality of their divine potential hovered in the air. Feel this moment, the man whispered. Let it guide your feet forward. What change awaits you if you embrace the fullness of who you truly are? With every beat of hope-filled hearts, the promise of their journey began to unfold, like the petals of a flower drifting in the warmth of the sunrise. The question now lingered on their lips, echoing in the soft shadows: what miracle would each of them uncover within, and how would their transformed spirits breathe light into the world around them? The room held its breath as if the very air was charged with a divine energy, pulsing with the fervent prayers rising from the congregation. Elizabeth felt a heat bloom in her chest, a mixture of joy and trepidation. Each person encircled her bore a unique sparkle, a glimmer of hope that spoke of potential not yet realized. Unity, the cloaked man's voice broke through her reverie. Unity is the foundation of your collective journey. One heart, one spirit. Picture your lives intertwined like the threads of a tapestry, each colored by your experiences, your triumphs, your struggles. Together you create a masterpiece. Timothy's eyes widened as the man's words settled over them like a soft blanket. Can we really do this, though? He asked, sincerity etched on his small face. Will it work? Elizabeth felt a warmth rising in her. Yes. If we believe in each other. She burst out. The stirring inside her swelled. We can't just hold our light for ourselves. We must share it. Let us become a movement of hope. A murmur spread across the room, nods of agreement punctuating Elizabeth's conviction. The cloaked man gave a slight inclination of his head, entrusting the moment to them. Listen, he began, his tone shifting, more confident now. Every heart carries a story, and every story holds the potential for healing. What if you found the courage to share yours? What if the chains binding you were broken by your willingness to be vulnerable? Lights flickered brighter, igniting whispers of faith and anticipation. Elizabeth breathed deeply, words tumbling forth from her heart. We can set up gatherings, safe places where we can speak and share. Coffee mornings where struggles become stories of support. Timothy grinned widely. Or even a youth event. We could invite everyone who feels alone, to stand together in community. The cloaked man raised an eyebrow in intrigue. Ah, young ones. You are envisioning a potent transformation. Think beyond just sharing burdens, think also of sharing triumphs. What if you create a celebration of victories, infused with joy and gratitude? The excitement bubbled over, sparking ideas like wildfire among them. Elizabeth caught glimpses of what could be: songs of praise, shared meals, laughter breaking the shadows, and tears of joy mingling with moments of grace. Let it flow, beloveds. The cloaked man encouraged. Divine purpose does not only reside in the difficult times, it dances in the joy found in healing and connection. But even as hope soared, a whispering worry crept in. Elizabeth had seen darkness, she had battled fear. What if they turn away? She thought, the small voice inside urging caution. The cloaked man caught her gaze, his eyes like pools of infinite compassion. Beloved, fear is natural, but it is your response that will define the journey. Each step taken in faith expands your capacity to love and receive love. Embrace it. The light you share will always echo back to you. Encouragement throbbed in each heartbeat. Elizabeth felt her anxiety lift, replaced by a grounded strength. "I will lead with love," she whispered under her breath, an affirmation of her commitment. The weight of her trembling heart began to ease. Yes. Let us commit to each other. Through every trial and every triumph, let us stand together. Timothy shouted, invigorated as a ripple of agreement surged through the group. "Excellent," the cloaked man declared, his voice resonating with pride. "Remember, beloveds, the light you kindle today can ignite 1,000 flames tomorrow." The divine plan often unveils itself in mysterious ways. He paused, fixing them each with a thoughtful gaze, before continuing. "Now I ask you, what if you discovered profound grace in the very places you fear most? What if within your vulnerabilities, the strongest chains are also the most beautiful testimonies?" The question hung in the air, inviting reflection and anticipation. Elizabeth felt a stirring within her spirit, an urge to dig deeper into the caverns of her heart. As reflections turned inward, she could sense a shift of power unfurling, ready to manifest in the world. The miracles, they're just beginning, she thought, a shiver running down her spine. Would they find the courage to share their burdens? Would they embrace their vulnerabilities and, step by daring step, begin to unveil a legacy of light? In that chapel, with the candles flickering and hope palpable, Elizabeth couldn't help but wonder what awaits when true faith ignites the impossible. The room seemed to crackle with anticipation, each person's breath mingling in the shared air of hope. Elizabeth glanced around, eyes meeting the faces of the congregation. Timothy's eager expression inspired her. She could sense the movement of a divine wind, pushing them towards something greater. "Let us begin," the cloaked man prompted, his presence steady like a lighthouse in a storm. "Each of you has a story waiting to be shared. Lives intertwined like the roots of trees. You can grow stronger together." Elizabeth felt the weight of those words anchor her thoughts. What if they could create something truly transformative? An opportunity to grow together, a space where vulnerability didn't equate to weakness but to strength. "What if we started tonight?" she suggested, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. "What if we format our gathering as a time of prayer but not limited to our struggles? Let us also celebrate God's blessings and the power of gratitude that flows through our lives." "Yes." Timothy jumped in, enthusiasm brightening his voice. "And we can share the victories too. Like how God helped me get through that tough exam." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. The cloaked man nodded, a hint of a smile lighting his face. "An excellent vision, beloveds. You have the potential to cultivate a garden of faith, flourishing in love and unity." The room buzzed with energy as ideas blossomed, like spring flowers reaching for the sun. Elizabeth felt invigorated, her spirit rising. She envisioned nights filled with laughter and stories, testimonies of redemption, how God had turned their grief into joy. "Let us have a theme for each meeting," suggested one of the women, her eyes sparkling. One week could focus on healing, another on restoration, perhaps gratitude. "We can encourage everyone to bring a friend. Or even bring a struggle night," Timothy added, excitedly bouncing in his seat. "Where we bring our worries and let others pray for us." "Brilliant!" Elizabeth exclaimed. Her heart warmed as she realized how their ideas reflected a tapestry of obedient faith, a colorful blend of voices creating a melodic hymn of unity. "Now, think deeper," the cloaked man urged gently. "What happens if, amidst your sharing, someone opens up about a past wound too painful to express? This is where prayers must soar higher, turn toward the divine intercession." Elizabeth contemplated his words. We can practice listening more than speaking, she realized. To create an environment where someone feels safe enough to share their deepest fears. This could be the spark igniting a healing within our community. Communication is key, another added. Empathy and understanding will cultivate love in our hearts, allowing us to direct that love back to God. As the conversation continued to flow and evolve, Elizabeth's heart lightened. She could envision their gatherings becoming havens of hope, but still, a shadow pressed against her thoughts. What if someone gets hurt? She murmured, battling the remnants of her earlier fears. What if someone doesn't heal, and we fail to help? The cloaked man's gaze pierced through her uncertainty. Beloved, healing isn't linear. Some stumble while others thrive. Your community is a space for growth, not a solution. Be each other's comforters, but remember God's plan involves patience and grace. He smiled, radiating warmth. Echo this truth: each person is a masterpiece, painted with purpose. When you sit in silence with someone who suffers, you affirm their existence. You mirror God's love, giving them a glimpse into the vast depths of His heart. The word settled softly like a balm on Elizabeth's spirit. So we are not just facilitators, she breathed, realizing the gravity of their calling. We very well might be vessels of transformation. Excitement and tension intertwined. Could they foster an environment where such miracles could blossom? She will come, a voice resonated in Elizabeth's mind, mysterious and gentle. The anticipation hung thicker, an echo of destiny unfurling its wings. Who would they touch? As the night progressed, she felt the weight of purpose anchoring her soul. The congregation began to sense it too. The divine was pushing them to create. Tomorrow, she said softly with conviction, we will break ground on this journey together. Would they be ready? Could this courageous step lead to a revelation they had never expected? With her heart full of unanswered questions and hope, she thought about the deeper works of God yet to unfold. The new dawn broke over Millfield, golden rays flooding through the chapel's windows. Elizabeth stood in quiet contemplation, heart within a whisper of gratitude. Today was the day they would begin to manifest their dreams into reality. Surrounding her, eager faces sparkled with expectation. Elizabeth felt the warmth of unity gathering, binding them in a quilt of faith. Let this day be our moment of transformation, she proclaimed, igniting a chorus of agreement. It was time to take action, to breathe life into those sacred dreams born out of their torrential night of prayer. They began their morning in silence, breathing in the promise of the day, each person reflecting on the journey they were about to embark upon. The cloaked man who had become a beacon of wisdom and light stepped forward. You have weathered storms, beloveds, and you have emerged strong. Now, it's time to wield that strength, to embrace the call of purpose that resonates in your hearts. Elizabeth felt the energy vibrate around her, whispers of encouragement and hope flowed between one another, harmonizing like a well-tuned hymn. They formed a circle, hands united as they lifted their intentions to the heavens. Lord, give us courage to share our hearts and shine our lights. Let us be bridges of hope. Voices called out, rising with fervor. Each declaration echoed like thunder, shaking the very rafters of the chapel. As they prayed, Elizabeth felt the chains of her doubt further unravel, revealing glimmers of clarity. Struggles are merely stepping stones, she thought. Together, we will cultivate a garden of connection. Strategizing began, as they brainstormed themes for their gatherings, nights of sharing joys, holding space for trials, learning, and laughter, a potluck to celebrate each victory, no matter how small. Elizabeth's vision lit up stronger the more ideas flowed. She could already picture the community thriving, hearts opening and connecting. We can start a mentorship program, suggested Timothy, his youthful excitement igniting the room. Pairing those who've walked their path with those who feel lost. Elizabeth's heart fluttered in her chest. This was community in action, releasing burdens and lifting one another up. I love that, Elizabeth exclaimed. We can create bonds that extend beyond our meetings. Imagine the transformation, offering love to those who feel isolated. With every proposal, the energy swelled. They began hearing ideas for outreach, for reaching others in need, even planning events that would extend their unity to nearby villages. Let us make our stories known. Someone shouted. Let us shine our light everywhere. A ripple of harmony echoed in the chapel as plans solidified. It was a beautiful tapestry unfurling before them, each thread intertwining with purpose, strength, and faith. Elizabeth felt alive, her spirit soaring with each passing moment, as a sense of divine direction enveloped the gathering. As their meeting drew to a close, Elizabeth looked around, her heart swelling with love for her community. They were not just individuals, they were manifestations of divine glory, empowered to transform Millfield. Now, before we step out, the cloaked man said, bringing the group back together, let us pray once more. Let us invite the Spirit into our plans. They bowed their heads in reverence, voices entwined in prayer. Elizabeth felt the room thrum with divine energy, like the beating of a sacred drum. Hearts began to ignite within her, she could feel the wave of hope swelling. With heartfelt sincerity, she closed. Lord, guide us as we take these steps. May we embody love, compassion, and unity in every encounter. May our collective light shine brightly, illuminating the paths for others. The emotion palpable within each voice, the prayer ascended like incense to the heavens. In that moment, Elizabeth understood, they were not merely embarking on a venture, they were joining forces to be a life-changing light. From that day forward, Millfield would stand together, igniting flames of hope wherever they touched. As they opened their eyes to the new day, warmth flooded the chapel. Elizabeth took a deep breath, pondering how far they had come together. She could feel the anticipation bubbling inside her, all the love and faith they had shared igniting a fire within. Let us get to work, she declared, standing tall. The energy in the room exploded, hands clasped, voices buoyant with excitement. They were ready. With every step taken toward their new beginning, Elizabeth felt the weight of a brighter future. The transformation they had prayed for was upon them, unfolding powerfully, uniquely through every heart that had chosen to rise together. Closing the chapel doors after their triumphant gathering, Elizabeth cast one last look back at the warmth that radiated from within. This is just the beginning, she thought. As we step into the light, countless lives will be touched. And with that, they set forth, leaving footprints of faith on the soil of Millfield, ready to embrace every challenge, every joy. As bearers of light, you need to subscribe now to catch our next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this divine manifestation. Don't wait even one more second to share in this beautiful light. Let's walk together in faith.